Welcome back to Ironsword, Rime of the Frostmaiden. This is episode 5. Last episode, our hero Karl finally tracked down the white moose for the third time and actually killed it this time, taking its head back to town to prove that the white moose would not be a threat anymore. Now, what Karl doesn't know is that there's an evil druid that's probably going to create more awakened animals that are make future trouble for Lonelywood, but that's future Karl's problem. Right now, his friend Half has recovered from his injuries, at least in part. He needs to talk to Half at some point and figure out what happened. Did he find any evidence of either of their sisters out in the woods? Because ultimately, Karl needs to hunt down his sister, Bridget, figure out where she's gone to, and hopefully help her if she's in trouble. He made this vow to get the Ramshackle, which is the defunct inn that the innkeeper had apparently committed suicide, although there's maybe some shenanigans going on there. So de Groot's died in his inn some time ago, and it's fallen into disrepair. And now it's a place where kids go, and the last two that went there, Karl was dispatched to try to find them, and he found them. They had been in a collapsed section of the building, and they were dead. So now Karl wants to get the townsfolk to deal with this problem. So I think this is going to be a combination of gathering some information as well as some compels to get this quest taken care of. It's a simple quest, simple vow, just to troublesome one. But I think step number 1 is get some information. So I think there's 2 pieces of information that Karl would really benefit from. One is what happened with de Groot's suicide. Like, does anyone know him? Did anyone hear anything like that? I think that's step number 1 in terms of getting information. The other piece of information that he needs to get is he needs to check out the Ramshackle and see like how good of a condition is this thing in? Should we just burn it down? Which is one of the ideas that he had. But you know, if it's a half worthwhile building, it may be worth saving. So he's doing okay, but I think it would be helpful to secure an advantage first. So maybe going around town and not yet talking to people, because that's going to be his gather information. But I think he's going to maybe figure out who the neighbors are by the Ramshackle, maybe figure out who frequented the Ramshackle, that kind of thing. Who was there recently? So I think that he's going to try to secure that advantage. All right, weak hit, not great. Short-lived, just a little bit of momentum, not what I was aiming for, but I think it's tough, you know, before he actually gets into talking to people. So he's just got to gather some information. He does have a bond with the townsfolk, so he's going to go ahead and add +1 for that. And then he's just going to go talk to people and be like, hey, what happened with de Groot's? Okay, on a weak hit, the information complicates your quest or introduces a new danger. Okay, this is fine because I've got something for this. So first of all, he's going to mark progress because he's finding out what happened to de Groot. So de Groot's apparently committed suicide, but that coincided with a caravan that was coming and going from town. So the traveling caravan was Torg's, led by Torga Icewind. And this is from Rime of the Frostmaiden. This is the opening quest that you're supposed to take, but I've kind of interwoven it. I'm kind of imagining Ravison, the ice druid, and the this mercenary that works for Torg's kind of being the 2 big baddies at the beginning here. So Torg's caravan was in town, and then they left, and then the next day, de Groot's body was found swinging from a rope from the rafters in his inn. So there's been murmurings that maybe it had something to do with Torg's caravan. So that's a little bit suspicious. So that's great. That'll introduce a new danger to me somewhere down the line. But at least right now, I kind of figured out a little bit of information. Maybe I can start to talk to people about, you know, if there was some nefariousness there, you know, we can't let that stand, right? We're just letting this building sit there and become progressively more terrible. So now I've got to try to check out the building and see what it looks like, just see what its integrity is, etc. Okay, I get some information, but it introduces a new danger. So What about a new danger? There were previously some rats in there, but maybe something. So should it be an animal or should it be something worse? Maybe something part of the overall meta plot. So let's see. Is it an animal that's taken over the Ramshackle? We'll ask the Oracle. We'll say 50-50 for this. Okay, it's some kind of animal. It's worse than rats, something that is going to be potentially dangerous to other folk who want to get in there. So, okay, I got the information. I'm going to go ahead and mark progress on that. Well, I think I'm going to deal with this. I think I'm just going to go in and do a battle. Yeah, so maybe this is a dog whose family left it here. It's abandoned. It's been hungry and starving. So it's a scared, lost dog. So we're just going to have a simple battle with this guy. I mean, I want to use clever tactics to deal with this poor hungry dog. And it's not its fault that it's just struggling. So I got a weak hit. You achieve your objective, but not without cost. Pay the price. I think that the price that I'm going to pay is a hit to spirit, because I think that I actually end up killing this dog, which is not great. It doesn't make Karl feel good. Definitely a bit of a bummer. This dog, it was just being a dog. It was new through no fault of its own, but I basically had to put it down. So I think I'm going to take a blow to spirit for that and endure through it. So great. I've gotten the inn cleared now, assessed its structure. It seems okay. So, okay, people of town, I think it's fine. So I'm going to try to compel them, charm. I get a +1 because I have a bond with them. You know what? I think I got to try to secure an advantage for this compel, because I'm worried what happens if I don't get it. So want to try to secure an advantage. Maybe I work with NIMBY to make some halfling sized cookies and some like human sized cookies and go and like give them door to door. I know, not very dramatic, but I think that's how I'm going to do it. So this is going to be charm to try to secure an advantage. I do have a bond with these people, so maybe this will help. Okay, short-lived, get a little bit of momentum, but not really what I wanted. So people are somewhat charmed by the cookies, but not super. So, all right. Now I'm going to try to convince them that someone should take over the Ramshackle. All right. I got a weak hit and I can't burn momentum, so I think it is what it is. So I think I'm going to mark progress. So I think that everyone's willing to do it, but they ask something for you in return. So you know what? Karl's a forester. He's raised as a forester. Maybe he needs to go out into the forest and get a couple of really big timbers to bring back to help shore up the structure of the Ramshackle. That sounds good. Call that a face danger. Keep it simple. I'm going to roll wits for this. And I think since this is woodscraft, I'm going to give him his woodscraft advantage. Strong hit. Fantastic. He gets those beams. He brings them back. I'm going to count that as progress. And then can we fulfill this vow? Yes, we can. Fantastic. Well, you fill your vow on a strong hit. Your quest is complete. Woot. All right, someone steps up to take it over. I think it's going to be Danae, who is the barkeep at the tavern. I think that she's maybe seeing a business opportunity where she can have the lodging as well as the tap, which is great. I have no intention of running a bar or an inn. Karl needs to find his sister. He doesn't need a base of operations. He's got his house in Lonelywood. So he's going to go talk to Half. Half, what did you see? What were you doing out there? Did you find anything? We've looked in the woods before and haven't found anything leading us to Bridget or Tessa. So what were you doing? Half is like looking up at him, still in his sick bed. Half looks up, says, I went further into the woods, past where we usually go, past where the loggers even go. And I did find something there. What you did? What'd you find? Oh, I saw some tracks that I think were maybe theirs, that the tracks were going off to Termalanie. What's strange? Why wouldn't they have just taken the road? I mean, there's a road right there. It'd be a lot faster. I'm not sure, but I were you, I would head to Termalane. I wish I could join you, Karl, and maybe once I recover, I can. Well, you just rest. I'll head to Termalane and see if I can find anything out. So Karl's got to go to Termalane is the next step. He decides to take the road. It's been so long since his sister and Tessa have disappeared that there's no point in going into the snow in the forest to try to track them there. So he's just going to take the road to Termalane. It's only a 2-hour trek. It's not challenging, so I'm not going to roll for it or anything. So he arrives in Termalane. On the way, I think I am going to spend some of the experience that he's gotten. So he's gotten 4 experience. So I definitely want to get this Fletcher benefit. When you craft a specific arrow for a opponent, it does a lot more damage. So that's going to really help him take out things like the white moose that are singularly tough and troublesome. So that costs 2 experience. And what else would be helpful? When you make camp in the woodlands, because he's been doing that a lot because he hasn't been able to sojourn because the people of Lonelywood for some reason hate him. We could roll wits instead of supply. Okay, we're just going to spend the 2 experience for the Fletcher benefit and then save the other 2 for later. So Karl arrives in the town of Termalane. Now he's probably, I don't know, he may have visited Termalane once or twice with his father when they were selling lumber on a little, daily outing or something like that. So it's going to be something that he's somewhat familiar with. So he knows that the town speaker of Termalane is Oras Matthew. Probably hasn't met him, but knows of him anyways, and knows his way a little bit around the town. I think he's going to head for the Dockside Tavern of the Blue Clam, because probably if people know stuff, that's where they would be that he could communicate with them. So he's going to go to the Blue Clam and hang out there, and he's going to chit chat with people and gather some information. He doesn't have a bond with these folks, so he's just going to wander around and talk to people. All right, we'll take a +1 momentum on that, which is great. So information complicates your quest or introduces a new danger. So he gets the information that he wanted, which is, have you seen a pair of young women, maybe from Lonelywood? So I think a couple of people say yes, they have, and they saw them headed up in the direction of the mine, which is a little weird. I don't think Karl understands why his sister would have headed to the mine here. She's never had any interest in, mining, and it seems like a kind of dangerous pursuit anyways, especially like going off with their best friend. This is all very strange to him. He's still not sure what's going on. And I, as the DM, don't know what's going on. We'll hopefully figure it out. So he gets that information. So that's helpful. So I think that he's going to mark some progress on finding his sister. This is, again, going to be a fairly lengthy process to find her. So he's going to go up there. So he heads out on the road up to the mine. And as he does so, there is a boy that's kind of being a town crier. A boy wrapped in heavy winter clothes shouts the news of the day as people pass by. As Karl approaches, the boy cries, "The gemstone mine is closed because of monsters. Speaker Matthew is offering gold to anyone who clears it out." This is alarming to Karl because he doesn't want to deal with monsters. He doesn't like monsters. He would much rather just go to the mine and see if anyone at the mine has seen Bridget, but I guess there are monsters. So he approaches the boy. He says, What are you talking? There are monsters? What happened to the miners?" The boy says, "Yes, they're terrible monsters. They were chased away by small reptilian creatures." So Karl's like, "Oh, for God's sake. All right, well, I'm going to swear a vow to clear this mine of monsters." So the vow is going to be clear the mine of monsters. And that's going to have, number of steps to it, obviously getting there, etc. So that's going to be his current vow. He's going to go up and clear the mine out, hopefully, or die trying. And more importantly, find something out about Bridget and Tessa and why they're in this mine. Hopefully they're in the mine. But if not, maybe he can, once he clears out the mine, he can form a bond with the people, maybe talk to them and get some more information about what's going on. So he's going to head up to the mine. The entrance to the gem mine is an open tunnel in a hillside. Empty carts are piled near the entrance, next to which a crude sign has been propped up, and written on it in a charcoal in common is kobolds only. And it's written in a surprisingly clear script for kobolds. I don't think Karl knows very much about kobolds. Let's see. Let's consult the oracle. Does Karl know about kobolds? I'm going to say it's unlikely. Nope. He doesn't know what these things are, what these little reptilian creatures are that the boy said have taken over the mine, but I guess they're monsters. So we're going to go check out the mine. Okay, Karl enters through the main mine entrance, his bow unslung, arrow ready, his axe easily at hand by his side, and enters into what seems to be a tool room. Racks holding picks and hammers are nailed to the walls of this small cavern. The floor is covered with rock dust and tracks. Ooh, tracks are helpful for me. So I'm going to, first of all, this is going to be a dangerous vow to clear the mine of monsters. But tracks I like. So I'm going to gather information using my woodcraft here. That is a strong hit. That's great. I'll get 2 momentum. And I discover that this was made primarily by these small, scaly humanoid creatures. And it looks like there's a bunch of them. Looks like there are also some giant rat tracks, which I do not want to mess with. So I see the giant rats tracks lead off to the left. Don't want to deal with that. I'm just going to go more or less straight and reach what looks to be a gem processing room. Benches and tables are set up at workspaces where miners clean any gemstones they find. Gravel and pebbles are strewn on the ground. Scattered across the floor are a few hammers, picks, and broken lanterns. Okay, well, broken lanterns, that's too bad. I wonder if there's a useful lantern here. So what do you think? 50-50, is there a useful lantern? Let's ask the oracle. Yes, there is. Great. I'm going to grab that lantern and use it to light the way as I proceed further into the mine. And I reach this massive shaft. Wooden planks and struts form a walkway along the wall of a seemingly bottomless vertical shaft. Definitely don't want to fall down this thing. A narrow waterfall cascades down the northeast wall, and the sound of rushing water is loud in this confined space. So I really can't hear anything, just the constant rush of water, but I'm going to make my way along the planks here. I think Karl's, more or less keeping an eye out, but I don't think he's like paranoid, checking every square sort of thing. So he makes his way across the planks and then into a tunnel where there's a wooden pulley system that's constructed around a large hole in the ground. A bucket big enough to hold a humanoid is held up by a thick rope. 3 alcoves next to the lift contain wooden boards and mining equipment. Okay, well, it looks like a lift to go down. So far, I don't see any monsters. More importantly, I don't think I see any evidence of Bridget or Tessa. In the tracks that I saw in the entrance there, I didn't see any, small human, female sorts of tracks. So I guess I'll go down and see what there is to see. So taking the bucket down into the next level of the mine, and we will resume there as Karl explores this gem mine, hoping to clear out the monsters, but more importantly, find out what in the world his sister was doing in this gem mine. Thanks for watching.